Let's get the ball rolling. So, Michael, can you tell us a little bit about your background in the publishing world and then how you came to start CreatorWood, which is formerly MakeYourOwnMovies.tv?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I'm so glad to be here. I think we go back a while, and I love everything you do in the CUNY. And I guess I've been doing this for a little while. I recognize a lot of the names here, so thank y'all for being here. The TLDR in me is back in 2017. I started self-publishing science fiction novels. I guess my passions are storytelling, technology, and the futures. Being an indie author, specifically writing science fiction, to me was like a dream come true. I didn't even know that was possible, right? I think we all had that moment where we didn't know indie publishing was a thing. Then we knew it was a thing, and it like changed, at least for me, it changed my life, just even knowing it was possible. So I published 12 books while I was in high school, which kind of means I'm a loser. I didn't have any friends, just was writing all the time. But then when I went to college, and you'll start to see where this starts to kind of come together into maybe some sort of cohesive story, although there was never a master plan. I just followed my passions. But I did YouTube in college and live streaming. So I got immersed in the world of video there. I was able to make a brief full-time living as a live streamer, which was quite fun. I was like playing manhunt and scavenger hunt in different cities across the country. Very interesting thing. Very cool period of time. It was during COVID as well, which was just interesting. Then I started my first like technology company. Many of you probably maybe know me from that. So I started basically like a membership platform for fiction authors. A lot of people still use it today. When I graduated from school, I kind of moved on from that and went to the Mr. Beast team. So I did strategy and growth for Mr. Beast, which if you're not familiar with Mr. Beast, he is the most viral creator in the world, which when we're talking about book trailers, a lot of how I think about book trailers is you finding new fans. I'm sure there'll be some insights shared today that directly influence that experience. And then at Beast, I had a few jobs at Beast. I think we all had a few jobs at Beast, but my job was kind of looking at the data and looking at new technology and understanding how we could work with both platforms and new tech to help us grow faster. So I got really immersed in the world of AI, video tools, audio tools, you name it, and it was fascinating. So I quit my job right around half a year ago now, 6 months ago, and I kind of came back to the author community with no plan except for I was interested in these AI tools. I really want to come back to the people I love, writers, and I want to do something. And I think that emerged into seeing how this video tech has progressed, which I'm sure I'll share the tools and all the fun things. A lot of y'all came to learn about it, so I'll share about it. And from there, realize like two big things. One is that we're at like a huge moment where there's this revolution happening in video storytelling where you can now take a story in a text format and bring it to the screen, right? In many different ways. And that's like really exciting because beforehand, that wasn't really possible economically or in a way that's simple. And I think it's gotten much simpler now. It's gotten much more economical where you can produce a full-length movie for about the price of an audiobook. Like that's the world we live in today. That's not science fiction. Mind you, and I'll talk about this too, there's limitations to the tech. It's not going to be the same quality as a Marvel movie. But is it going to be interesting? Is it going to be engaging? I think yes. And I'll show you some examples of it as well that I think you all might agree are pretty engaging. Then what I also realize is that there's kind of two opportunities here. We can use these tools to market our books better, which is the sort of focus of today. Because why not? Like videos everywhere and effectively like everywhere online is trailers for products. Like if you think of all the different times you're on TikTok or YouTube Shorts, whatever short form video platform you're on, I think there's a huge opportunity to gain discovery there. So I'm excited to just talk about how we can use these tools today to help you sell more books. That feels like a great actionable takeaway. So I hope y'all walk away with that. And then what we'll also, I'm sure, touch on, and I'll just share it up front now, is that I also see this as a bigger opportunity to open up a whole new medium of storytelling where you used to sell ebooks, you used to sell paperback books, you used to sell audiobooks, you still will sell all these things, but now you're going to be able to sell movies and shows directly. And that's what CreatorWood does. We built a tool that turns your book, you just upload it, we turn it into a movie or show using AI, and then you can make money from it. So that's kind of where I'm spending my time now because I think technology is interesting. Folks listening to this some might be pro AI, some might be anti AI, some might be in the middle. I'm pro storyteller, and I think that tech can be used in many different ways. And what I'm really excited about using this tech to do is one, help you all reach new readers, and two, potentially grow this entire market of storytelling because we can expand our stories into a new medium. So that's what excites me about it is how can we tear down the next round of gatekeepers? And now your filmmaking ability or having a camera or even putting yourself on camera is not a barrier to entry to create video. And I can't understate how much that changes the world. And it's I'm so excited to share that with you. So yeah, that's kind of my arc and kind of why I'm here today. And I'm super grateful to be here.
Yeah, that's a super interesting combination of things that you've done in the past that led you to where you are today that sort of sets you up for what you're doing now. I I did not write 12 books in high school, but I did write like short story, like sci-fi and fantasy short stories. Never published anything, but I always had an interest in writing and then got interested in tech and entrepreneurship in college and then decide to leave my job to pursue building tools for authors and then try to get back into writing. And I think you'll hear the same story from many other sort of founders in the space who build things for authors, which is that like they wanted to do more writing and like start like building things for authors at the same time, and then the quickly building the tools for authors took over 100% of the time, and they no longer have time for writing. So, but it's good because I love writing software. It's
We're
just a
kind of
different kind
writing
of
a different
writing.
type of story. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. 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 Why don't we start with book trailers? What makes a good book trailer?
Yeah. Well, one, I could just start showing you one and then we could go from there. You think that's fun?
Let's take a look at an example, and I'd love to also if you have like a sort of framework for how to think
Yes.
about like what it's sort
It
of like,
will
romancing the beats or anything like that.
three-step process. So, well,
Yeah,
I want to show you an example of a book trailer and I want to critique it because it's a great book trailer, but it's not how I would define a book trailer. So then we'll redefine it and go through the steps of doing it. And I'll give a lot of free
awesome.
stuff away.
Yeah, no, that sounds super helpful.
So let me first show you because I think we have to like with these AI video tools, which I'm sure I'll get into details of what some of them are. But you can do things that are like pretty mind-blowing. And this is an example of a trailer that the author Novi Callum, they made this. You all might know Novi Callum. They're an indie author. They're amazing. Just I won't even Zoom's blocking my play button. There we go. No, annotate, go away. Cool. It's so funny. Zoom is literally blocking me from being able to, when the Zoom thing is like right over the play button. Okay.
Exit full screen, hit the play button, and then re-full screen it.
I think I got it now.
Okay.
So one concern is that the audio probably won't come through good.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
so I might only play about 30 seconds of this, and then I'll send the link in the chat if people want to watch the full thing. But you'll get an idea for even just the visual quality in 30 seconds. I apologize about the audio. That's just a Zoom thing.
No worries.
My mother promised me I could marry who I want. My mother lied. He's rumored to have killed his father, so I'm disguising as a man to catch him in his lies. My best chance to get close is to become a court mage. I can hope that the eyes I'm looking into aren't the eyes of a killer.
He's gonna do something dangerous. I can feel it.
I reach out to the raging fire.
Please try to describe it.
Neither of them will thank you, so I will.
People would like to see their ruler actually rule. You have the willpower of a king. Can I trust you, Caleb?
My son does not need the scandal of romancing a village maid.
So I'll send the link in the chat to the full thing because I'm sure on my end it's hard to tell how bad the audio was butchered, but I'm pretty sure Zoom filtered that.
It was not horrible. I got most of it. I got most of the words and all of that stuff.
Okay, that's fascinating. Oh, Ron, good tip there. So yeah, I'll tell you, first of all, like I think it's a great trailer. Like production quality, engaging wise, it's amazing. And that's the type of stuff you can do with these AI tools today. To be clear about the tools that this person used, they used VO3 mainly, and then 11 Labs for some of the audio. Now 11 Labs y'all might be familiar with. It's a audio sound effects, voice profiles you can create in there. Essentially, it's like an AI audio tool. VO3 is an AI video tool made by Google. VO3 exactly is expensive. It's a minimum $250 a month subscription. That I wouldn't recommend jumping into off the bat, but Kling is fairly good. So is Helio. I'm just dumping all the tools that people can try out. Kling, Helio, Midjourney are other options. My personal taste is that Midjourney video is actually really good. This is like new in the last couple weeks, and it's what I'd start with because they also have image generation. So if you're already doing AI images for anything, you don't need to necessarily like learn a new tool for that. Videos are already in Midjourney. You could get pretty similar quality out of Midjourney, but VO3 is obviously it's a good bit better. I like Pixar's. Yeah, there's nowadays so many different models, but with that said, I did see a question in the chat about copyright. It's a great question. So the simple answer is that if you make content using these tools, the current kind of law of the land is that you do have copyright to these things. Now, in terms of how these models were trained, that information is not really all that public, but it's from pretty much everyone's understanding that it's been trained on copyrighted material. Google's VO3 almost certainly was trained on content posted to YouTube. So that's something that some people look at and are like, I don't consent to that. I don't think that's morally something I want to be involved with. Cool. Like I just have so much respect for that. You deserve to know what's going into these tools. Whereas you might look at it and be like, oh, this is interesting. This is a really cool tech. What it can open up for me. So I think there's no right or wrong answer to how you feel about it. But in terms of what goes into it, you keep what comes out of it right now. This could change based on laws, but I don't see that changing. And then what went into it is, trained on a lot of different material. Yeah. And Shannon, you should try out Midjourney. Midjourney's great. So anyways, I could rant forever, but I think that's like it's somewhat of an intro into it of the tools. Now, in terms of how to think about a book trailer, my big thing is that I just showed you, I think, what a very traditional book trailer looks like. But I want to show you something from the opposite end of the spectrum that you maybe have already seen, which, by the way, I'm not asked, please do not copy this because this is definitely violating copyright. I'm showing this because it's visceral and it's interesting, it's funny. This is Stormtrooper vlogs. They used AI video tools to make vlogs of Stormtrooper, but I'm going to posit that these are two ends of the spectrum of what book trailers could look like. And let me just show you one of their videos. You could obviously find them on Instagram and look up more of their videos. I want to watch this one specifically. A lot of them are very funny. Let's see.
Craft us some more tools.
Guys, Greg's doing better. It's time to hunt that Wampa and get that TV. All right, guys, we just found some footprints. Pretty sure it's the Wampa. All right, guys, we followed the footprints to this cave. Time to see what's in there. Greg, shh. You're gonna get us killed. My bad, I just wanted a snack. He's right behind us. Go, go, go.
While Greg's recovering, might as well take this time to craft.
So two opposite ends of the spectrum. I think both are examples of what could be good book trailers, which is where I want to first, well, we'll talk, I'm sure, a ton more, but where I want to first change your mind about a book trailer is that a book trailer fundamentally is anything, any piece of video content that features your story world directly that can get someone interested in reading your story. That's all it is, right? Fundamentally. So there's the traditional trailer when we think about more like emulating the Hollywood movie trailer, right? Which is what we saw with Novice, which was beautiful and amazing. And I want to read that story, to be clear. I want to read The Kingsweaver. But I'm sure, as y'all noticed, if I was to post it on TikTok, it might do well, but it might not be designed to perform organically well in the TikTok algorithm, YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels. Whereas the other video I showed you was clearly something optimized for the algorithm, right? That's something that is literally a vlog, but a vlog of a fictional world. Now, in this case, it's the Stormtrooper world, so don't use someone else's IP, but imagine if that vlog was set in your world, right? And featured a scene from one of your stories. So at a high level, we can talk about more how to make these and specific steps. But the first thing to really think about is that you can broaden your mind of what a book trailer is. And my advice to you is to think about what format and packaging of a book trailer, what content in a trailer could actually get the most eyeballs organically to see your content. Because that's really how, wow, it was huge lightning. I apologize. I got distracted by that. Huge lightning. It's thunderstorming near me. But that to me is like really exciting. Like all of a sudden now, all of these content formats that exist on social media, you can create featuring your actual worlds, not like, here's me on, I'm holding up a book here. It's actually a book on AI, which is very funny, the alignment problem, but it's not like, oh, here's my book, please buy it. It's like, no, here's the story. So anyways, we'll pause there. High level, let me know if that makes sense to people on like what a book trailer is.
I think that makes a ton of sense. It's like breaking out of this limitation that a typical movie trailer has, right? Because a typical movie trailer has a limitation that the scenes need to come from the movie because people are going to go to watch that movie. If the movie trailer does not, has scenes that are not in the movie, people would be rightfully upset because they're like, I went to see this movie to get, but it's different when you're talking about a book trailer because those scenes don't need to necessarily, it's kind of like a book cover, right? Like a book cover doesn't necessarily always depict a actual scene out of the book necessarily, right? It just might be like the character is posing in an interesting way or something along those lines. And so you don't have the same limitation that a typical like movie trailer does.
On that note, you reminded me of an easy way to get folks who haven't used any AI video tools yet to use them. And this is free. Literally will cost you nothing, none money out of pocket. Is if you haven't created an account on Kling yet, let me pull up their website. It's klingai.com. This involves your book cover. This is like a 30-second hack that's kind of cool. What you can do here is upload your book cover into Kling, and then you can ask it to say, like, let's say you have a character in your book cover, you want to animate the book cover. So I want X to happen in the book cover or Y to happen in the book cover. You can then take your book cover and turn it into an animated book cover using Kling. And my guess is you'll be able to do it using the free credits they give you when you first sign up. So you won't have to pay out of pocket for it, and you could walk away with something cool and fun. So anyways, that was like kind of a tangent, but you mentioned book cover and I got excited. I was like, oh, here's like a cool free thing people could do. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a great suggestion, especially as like an entry point to starting to learn some of the tools. Uh, so so um so what are do you have like key elements that you think need to be included in the book in the movie trailer or book trailer? Sorry.
Yeah, no, so the short answer is yes. And the thing that I would shift people's mindset to is like you want to make potential, you start with one trailer, but you can make multiple trailers. Unlike a book cover where it's your packaging, this is driving traffic to the packaging, right? So you can have multiple different trailers. So with that, I'm going to share something in the chat. It's a kind of a little bonus. I don't give this away normally. It's actually something I use more internally, but you all can have it. So I put the spreadsheet in the chat. I'll follow up with Evan, so I'm sure he'll send it to everyone after. Evan's the best. But I'll share my screen briefly to walk you all through what this is, because this is how I think about creating like viral book trailers. And when I say viral, just content that's designed to reach net new viewers, right? That can actually get you discovery. So basically, a matrix, right, has rows and columns. I'll describe what the rows are first, and then it's your job to fill in the columns, which for those who haven't maybe copied a Google Sheet before, you can make your own copy of this by just clicking File and then make a copy, and then you can use it yourself, right? So that's what I recommend doing. You won't be able to edit this version because we all are in this version. But basically, how I want you to think about packaging your ideas up in your scenes is taking something that performs well on social hook that's going to get people natively into this story of yours, and then combining it with a scene in your story. Let me give a more historical example before we dive in. We talked about movie trailers. Where do you watch movie trailers typically? In the movies, right? Like you would watch before the movie. Other movies have paid money for you to sit there and watch those trailers. So those trailers are optimized for an audience traditionally, right? That's sitting down in front of a movie screen prepared to watch something, right? A very captive audience. If you wanted to pay movie theaters across the country to run your book trailer, which feels like maybe an interesting idea, but I don't know if I'd recommend it, then creating trailers in a traditional Hollywood format or movie trailer format would make sense. But that's not how we necessarily consume trailers anymore. We're consuming them mostly on our phones, and if not on our phones, certainly while we're on the go. So what we want to think about is on social platforms, how do we create trailers native to that? So that's what this content matrix helps you do. And there's really only 3 steps to it. And I'll tell you something wild. I'm going to give you a tip. If any of you have used ChatGPT or you could use Claude, that instantly, let's call it in like a half hour to an hour, will give you 300 trailer ideas, literally. Now, you will not make them all, okay? But you at least will have plenty of ideas to start with. So first is understanding these hooks on the left, the column, A column, right? So what I love about these are I pulled these from, these are hooks that already do well on social media. These are formats for hooks, right? So what I wish I knew, right? So like imagine if like you're, let's say, an epic fantasy character, maybe your character's an elf, or maybe your character's a mage, right? What I wish I knew as a mage in the 17th century, I don't know. Again, that's an interesting hook, right? You've got me into your story and world using this. What I wish I knew. Then I used to do X, now I do Y. Imagine something with one of your characters in your world, right? I used to try and fight dragons, just with my sword, but then I leveled up my powers, and now, or I used to go to the bar to try and meet guys I like, but then right now I do this, whatever it is, right? I mean, think about your story. You could think about something there, and we'll go on this. There's many more hooks. I can't go through all these now. You have them all. Here's a secret. Before you do this, read this, the best way, a listicle, right? Imagine like this, right? I mean, this is just, there's so much in here. So that's like a great way to think about starting it, right? is how do I use a hook that I know already does well on social media and then put my story into it? But that's then the question. How are you putting your story into it? And that's where we get to these columns. These columns are going to be you pulling out scenes or interesting characters, basically interesting parts of your story that you want to combine with these hooks. Think about it like you're mixing meat ingredients together. You kind of have your, I don't really cook often, so that's a horrible analogy for me. You have one of your ingredients. This is a horrible analogy for me. You have one of your ingredients over here, and then you have your other ingredients. It's so bad. You know, or maybe like you have your water. Okay, you're mixing something in water. This is better. Your water is your kind of hook format. You need the water. But what are you mixing into the water to create your unique substance? Maybe that makes sense, right? So this is where you could say, oh, like I have this dragon riding scene, or oh, like this is like the meet cute moment, or oh, this is this date in this restaurant, whatever it is, right? And you can make somewhere around, I would encourage you to pull out 5 to 10 moments from your story or hooks or interesting things about your story. Could be tropes, things that you think would get an audience engaged, right? And then you could literally say, hey, ChatGPT, here's the things that I think are interesting about my story, right? Copy, paste the list of 10 things. Here's a list of all these hooks, right? There's 37 that I'm giving you. Here's a list, and you can add more, right? This is not supposed to be like prescriptive. It's just supposed to be a really good start. Here's 37 hooks. Can you create, using each one of these things, a script for a video for me that would advertise my book on social media? Done, right? Now you have your script. But what's even better is this. Don't ask it to make a script. Ask it to make you the shot prompts for the specific AI tool you're using. And if you want to get really advanced, literally ask it to output in JSON what that is. So I don't want to get super technical, but essentially you could say, give me a prompt that includes like for each section, each one of these things includes the visual, includes the action the character's taking, includes any audio, right? These are things you would need to like feed into an AI tool, right? Here's what you're going to make me. But you also can use JSON and basically have it output in JSON, because that's what a lot of these AI models work really well with. Like basically all AI loves JSON. It's just very structured format for a prompt. So you can say, can you output this information for me in this format, and literally give it, hey, here is like the prompt structure, right? You might want to fool around with your prompt structure based on how complex your trailers are going to be, but I recommend every prompt, you need a character. You always need a character. You need, or maybe not a character. You might not need a character, but you definitely need to know if a character is present or not. You need a background or a scenery, and you need sound of some kind, whether it's music or whether it's audio. There's obviously other things you might want to include: character movement, emotion. And the last point I'll say is that character consistency is obviously a big concern. You can feed in reference images into every single one of these models for each of your shots. So if you go to Kling or you go to Midjourney, you can say, hey, here's my reference image for this shot, and you reference a specific character image. That way it maintains character consistency. So, you know, again, that's like a crazy quick crash course, but that's how I think about doing this.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. And that's a good that list of hooks that you have there is a great way, because there are so many patterns out there to what goes viral or what people enjoy watching on the internet, right? Like it's why so many of, I watch a lot of like cooking videos and stuff, right? And or even if you're talking about like movies or anything like that, like it's all sort of formulaic, but like it's always got this element and this element and that element, and like that's a thing that people love, right? It's just like how you can talk about the hero's journey or whatever, right? Whatever sort of like book formula you might be following there. So yeah, having those hooks just to give you an idea of what scenes you can string together to make an interesting and viral book trailer is incredibly helpful. Do you think that some of those hooks work better like across certain genres, or how do you think about, genre and how this interplays with book trailers?
Yes, the genre in general, I always recommend. I actually pulled out this card. Yes, the list of hooks, Mike, I'll put it in the chat again, is right here. This is a card. I made like 50 cards for authors. They're like basically superpowers to market your books, which are totally free, by the way. You can download them totally free. So this one's called Story Spy. This is where I start with. So I'll give you a short anecdote, and then I'll give you like how to do this. So at Mr. Beast, how we would create viral content is understanding everything that's going viral on the internet in a given moment. Because think like Mr. Beast is just like the big niche of overall. So he's just trying to create like kind of like base stem, most viral possible content. Like the most commercial of commercial fiction is Mr. Beast. So we literally would scrape content from social platforms. This is too advanced for anyone here to do. I'll give you the easy playbook. And we built a literal internal app that would feed us top content every social platform on a weekly basis. And then we'd rip those hooks, rip their data, and then understand how they're performing so we could create better content. So the short answer is the way you stay on top of what's working is seeing what's working, which seems intuitive, but then how do we actually do this if you're not Mr. Beast? So how you do this is actually pretty simple. You get a list of folks that create in your genre, could be other authors, could be reading creators like book talkers, could even be people tangential, like think people who review movies or people who are just creating, like maybe if you're writing cozy fantasy, you include someone like Meg's Tea Room, right? So you want to get a list of like who's already trending and creating content that's reaching your audience. This doesn't have to be a list that's huge. I think 10 to 20 people's awesome. So then what you do is two things. One, study what videos did they post that got the most views. We call these outlier videos. Outlier videos are videos that get more views than the average viewed video on that profile. So let's say a creator gets 10,000 views on average. I don't want you looking at the 10,000 view videos. I want you looking at the videos that get 30,000 views or more, right? 3x more on average is my rule of thumb. Again, it's less of a science, a little bit more of an art there, but you get the idea. Then you take that and you go, okay, I'm going to maybe put these in a Google sheet, some form of a spreadsheet, so I can track all of it. And you might now have something like 100 videos. First of all, what learning? You've just done like the best market research ever. But now you can do two amazing things with this. One is you can pull out the hooks from these videos, pull out the content, right? And understand natively what's working, and then use those hooks specifically. Again, I gave you starting hooks, but you can already rip the best hooks, and you can feed that as context into any AI you use, such as ChatGPT, to help you make better content. Because ultimately, context is everything. And if you can show these models what a version of great looks like, it's way more likely to give you great content back. So however you choose to do this, yourself or using AI, this is super valuable context. And that's how I do it.
Gotcha. And then once you've created the trailer, like how involved do you need to be in like actually editing it? Like, is it giving you like short snippets of scenes and you need to know how to like compile them together, do like, transitions between them, anything
Awesome
like
question.
that? Or
Yeah, awesome question. So first, I was into recommending free tools. So when it comes down to editing, you're probably going to want to use CapCut. Many of you know what CapCut is. It's a free tool. You can pay for like a paid version, but it's most of everything you need is free. What you're going to want to do is like you go into it with, let's say you're creating a 30-second video. There might be 6 or 7 shots in it, right? And that translates into 6 or 7 prompts that you feed the AI. So now you feed the AI those prompts and you get out outputs that you're happy with. Now, one point I even want to make before editing is the 3 things to look out for when prompting AI. I have like 3 rules. One is I have them written down, so I want to literally read off of them. Not to be lazy, but I want to make sure I'm doing it right. Okay, cool. My 3 rules are: one, unfortunately, AI is not deterministic, right? So you can give it the same prompt and it'll come up with 2 different outputs. And what I've found using video models in particular is you can type in the same exact prompt, run it twice. One output might be completely horrible. Like we're talking, it doesn't, there's an arm's missing, the physics are all off, right? Like it just doesn't work. And then the next one might be beautiful. So you do want to give it like 1 or 2 tries. The other one is not to overload it with too much information in your prompts. Like if you're giving it too much information and being too prescriptive, it can get overloaded. These models need context, but too much can bog it down. And then the last thing is occasionally what you're trying to do in a shot is hard for the AI to do. Like there's certain things it thrives on, like special effects. It's like better at than many like Hollywood pros versus like a lot of simple things like doing this camera motion or, 2 characters in a shot sometimes it can sort of falter at. So you might need to, just like someone would in the real world, like that shot's too expensive to get, man. We can't go to the edge of that cliff. You might similarly be sitting at your laptop going, this shot's not working, let's adjust. And the technology is rapidly getting better. But there are limitations to the technology that you don't want to work against, but work with. So assuming you have shots you're happy with, you've kind of followed those 3 steps. Now it's like, okay, great. I have shots I'm happy with. Now let me go and export them, bring them into something like CapCut, splice them together, right? Just one at a time. And then you can add in any extra audio or sound effects. The editing process takes time, but not too much time. And also, I know what I'm describing, by the way. I've already seen a few comments. It's like, this feels like a lot. And that's what I've been working on trying to solve because I get that it's a lot. I'm trying, I can talk about how I'm trying to make it simpler, but the truth is that right now in the current context, incredible things are possible, but you have to string together multiple tools and kind of build a new workflow around it, which is not impossible. You can learn how to do it. You are all beyond smart enough and beyond creative enough. You would crush it, but also you have a million other things to do. Book trailers probably isn't at the top of your list. I'm just guessing. Like there's probably other things that are higher priority. If that's you, we've been trying to build something that makes it simpler as well. So note that I think this workflow is rapidly evolving. Everything I'm talking about was barely even possible 6 months ago.
Yeah. Do you have, could you show us a demo of some of the tools that you've been talking about, or would that be too hard to do on the fly?
I could totally, well, yeah, totally. So let me show you, I can show you two things. So, one, I'll say is this. I really do recommend like seeing how these other tools work. But what we noticed very early on is that if you're a filmmaker, these tools are magical because you already know, like I come from actually a partial filmmaking background. So I've edited hundreds of videos. Like this stuff to me is like just as writing a book, like I also know that skill set as well, but this is a very native skill set to me. I understand like if you've never touched an editing timeline, like it's super scary to like dive in, honestly. So what we've been working on, it's called CreatorWood, is basically a tool that allows you to upload your story, upload your book. We turn it into a movie or television show for you all in one flow. You don't need to use any other tools. And likewise, we can also make those trailers for you. So I'll show you what our flow looks like. And this is the first time anyone's seeing it because we're not even in beta yet. We're coming into beta this weekend. And then I'll briefly show you guys what Kling looks like because Kling is pretty much what every other tool looks like. Like if you understand Kling, you get the other AI tools, and then it's up to you to decide like, do you want to dive in like this second and start using these other AI tools, or our strong opinion is that writers need a specific AI tool specifically built to help their stories translate to video, which is why we're doing what we're doing. So let me share that now. This is like a super, super quick demo, but we have three parts to what you do. You upload your story, we analyze your story, we understand all the characters and objects in it, and we generate those objects so that you can see basically like right here, you can enter in how long you want your episodes to be, if you want it to be vertical or horizontal, target audience, genre, style, right? So we have like cinematic, realistic, animated, that because your videos can be any style you want, right? I mean, like it's up to you. You could create an animation, you can create cinematic. That's what's beautiful about this. So once you enter in those, you go to the director's notes, which think of this like you're literally, this is your cast of characters. So you can adjust your cast if you want to, let's say, like maybe Wilbur and Ash. You don't like how he looks. Like, this is not it. You can add in some notes and we'll regenerate it. And we're doing this all automatically based on your story. You don't need to do anything. We just do this for you. Then next is we'll fast forward through this. It's great stuff, but is the editor's notes. So this is where we take your story, we break your story down into scenes automatically, and then we create a storyboard so that each you can see here each shot we create a prompt for. It doesn't look like a prompt to you. It's just something you can edit visually. We show you the different characters that are in it. So you can see, oh, this is the object in this scene. This is going to be the character in this shot. You can obviously add or adjust the characters, and then you can generate the shot or even just generate a scene in one go. And again, all this is done for you. You just come in and decide, do I want to edit it? Do I want to change this thing about it? So you could use this as like a book trailer machine because you could then have every scene of your book broken up and then just tie in the hooks and the sheet we talked into it. Or you could obviously use this to make on like full movies or TV shows. So that's where we're at now, which is really exciting. And so if you're like, oh my God, this is complicated, like I actually completely agree with you. So we tried to make it simpler, but Kling is still a really cool tool to use. So how much will you, so the service is just basically going to be whatever the AI credits cost. Video models, like we use VO3. So it's like roughly $2.50 per shot generated. So like a full movie would cost something like an hour, hour and a half would cost something like $3,000 to maybe $6,000. Whereas like an individual episode is going to cost like 5 to 10 minutes, a couple $100. You can make probably a video for like 30 to 60 seconds for under $100. And we create all the storyboards and scenes and all of that usually for under 50. So the most expensive part of the process is video, which is why we try and like give you everything you need to make sure you're happy with the video you're making rather than just press a button and make it. Yeah, the sort of waitlist page for that is here. Just put it in the chat quickly. But let me show you Kling now so you get an idea of like what a traditional AI filmmaking workflow looks like. So I believe I'm signed in here. Please tell me I'm signed in. Doing my best. Yes, we are. Or no, we're not. Whatever. Okay. I'll show you quickly what it looks like because I think I can still get in even though I'm not signed in. Because I have a paid Kling account. As Kling loads, I'll share that when you load up a Kling, Midjourney, all these look similar. So I'm showing you one, but I feel like if you kind of get the lowdown of this, you'll understand how to like use Midjourney or Veo or Pix3, all the other ones that exist, Helio. So what you start with is essentially, I would go with text to video is fine. The issue with text to video is you're not going to get, first of all, as high quality of a model, and you're not going to get the consistency you're probably looking for. So I'd start with an image. You can make this image using ChatGPT. You could use it using existing character art you have, or you could use something like Midjourney. But you'll upload the image in here. So I'll use one of their hint images right now. So I'm using this one. And then you'll type in a prompt. And the prompt will be what you want this image to do. So maybe it's like this looks like a woman and a cat. So maybe it's like woman petting cat. And I mean, you would probably like to format it correctly. You do like action, then you do emotion, right? So like action is a woman pets cat. Emotion is she is, maybe stressed out, right? Because you're thinking, oh, well, she's petting the cat. She's probably happy, but she's stressed out. So why is she stressed out? And then maybe there's no music in this one or no anything. And then you could say how long you want the shot to be, 5 or 10 seconds. You can tell it how many outputs you want. This is because the models sometimes don't give you the output you want in the first try. So you can ask it to generate 3 or 4 outputs for you, but it's going to cost more money to do that. I usually start with one personally, hope it's good, and if it's not, then I'm happy to do another one versus like automatically paying for extra. Then motion control is just how you want the character moving. It's going to make me sign into my account, which I'm not signed into, but that's more advanced stuff. Fundamentally, it's just image and prompt, and then you would press generate and it would run. Which that's that. I'll try and get in my account now. I heard you need to have text in all the images since many may watch and mute. Yes, closed captions, exactly. And that's pretty easy to do. You like if CreatorWood, we add captions for you. Oftentimes you could turn that off, but there's like software like Descript, which is pretty cheap, very easy to use, which will like automatically add captions as well. Trying to think of like other good software. The issue is with like Veo, if you ask Veo or even Kling to add captions from experience, it won't do the captions correctly. And that's kind of pointless. iMovie, yeah, you can manually add the captions using iMovie. I personally like enjoy using something that automates it for me. So Descript will automate that process and just automatically detect the captions and add it. Canva, yep, Canva has a lot of interesting things they've been doing in video lately. I haven't even fully kept up with Canva. That's great, Victoria. Good to know. So yeah, Canva does video captions. Yeah, I'd be looking at anything that automates it, if that makes sense. But
I mean, if you're ultimately, the other thing is like, if you're ultimately like uploading this to YouTube or Facebook, a lot of them will auto-generate captions as well. So you don't need to even create captions if you're uploading it to YouTube. They'll automatically add captions. I think it also depends. I think when the person that said they heard that they need to have text on all of the images since many people watch on mute, I think that is also specific to like people watching things on like TikTok or Facebook Reels or Instagram Reels or whatever, where a lot of times they're like on their phone in a public setting and they're like scrolling through some videos or something, and it's helpful to have like the conversation in text on the video. But those are artifacts that I would recommend adding after you've generated that video, right? Just like Michael was saying, if you try to get like the AI to generate the full scene plus have the text on there too, it's not gonna do it right. I mean, even a lot of just the image generation stuff, like if you ask it to produce text, it's gotten definitely better, but a lot of it still ends up being wonky.
Ideogram's pretty good with text on images. And you're right, it's gotten better, but it is wonky. And then Shannon was asking earlier, I think, great question, which was like, hey, like, could I feed my whole book in and then ask, chat or Claude to pull out scenes from the book that might be good for book trailers? I think that's great. The only problem with feeding a full book in still, I mean, although GPT-5 has an even larger context window, so that problem's like maybe in the process of being solved as I speak. But up until now, you still had issues feeding a full book in with it like actually truly understanding the full context. So I would feed it in chunks, right? I would feed it in chunks, have it give you a summary of each chunk, and then it has the context from those summaries to maybe pull out good points. So it's kind of like, feeding it like a full book is like probably going to overwhelm it and not give you the best result. It's not going to be terrible, but it's probably not going to give you the best result.
Yeah. You still have to worry about how much of how much of a book or a thing that these AI tools can actually process in one go. So we've talked about a lot about how to produce these trailers, and we started talking about captions, which I think is a good segue into like, so you've created a book trailer. Now, how do you actually use that to market your book? What are some good channels, or that's sort of what this is about?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So there's two main things here. First is you can think about using it for actual like ads. If people are running like meta ads, 50% of ad inventory is video, especially like folks under 40. That's going to be like a lot of the ad inventory they're being served up. Like the vast majority of that ad inventory to folks under 40 is video. So this now gives you like a lot of potential assets to play around with, right? For video ads. And then obviously the other thing is like organic social content. Like can I post it on TikTok, Instagram, Reels, and YouTube Shorts? Like I'd be doing that with all of them. So those are kind of like the first places to start. I think outside of social media, like you can use it other places, but it's tough. Like for me, like I think, yeah, you want to try and get new fans with it. So in terms of like how to actually post to social media, you post to Instagram, post to TikTok, post to YouTube Shorts. You should probably be posting to all three of those. And what you want to study is the retention graph, right? Like where do people drop off on the video? And ultimately, the higher your retention is, the more views you're going to get almost always. So that comes down to like having great hooks so people stay around. Shorter videos are better typically. Like you don't need to create 3 minute long videos, like 20, 30 seconds. And then just iterating from there, like creating each video, analyzing the data, and then coming back and trying to find like the winning hook that's going to really get people interested. Because as you'll see from studying other people's channels, going through like the story spy process we talked about earlier, you just need a few outlier videos to drive a lot of viewership for you. I think then the other kind of strategy to think about from a content perspective is, are you creating a show? So it's kind of something that you want people to come back to over and over again on the platform. Think like the Yeti vlogs that I'm sure a lot of you have seen, or the Bigfoot vlogs. That's the type of thing that like you watch it over and over again and you want to keep watching more of, versus is this more like just an advertisement for your book, right? Which is also fine, but is a viewer realistically going to want to watch 10 ads from you in a row? Maybe, maybe not. And oftentimes social media, like if you want to get organic reach rather than pay for content, you need to play by their rules. And their rules are they want more engagement on their platform. So if you can create content that incentivizes people to keep watching more content on platform from you, it might not like necessarily lead to like a crazy call to action in one video, but you're going to build a fan base over time that's going to be super curious, lead to more views, and ultimately lead to more sales. So yeah.
Do you have any case studies from authors that have actually done this, or heard from authors that have done this kind of thing, and how exactly they're
Yeah, let me give you one right now. So, trying to pull up her TikTok, but you should also check her out in the Facebook ads library. You can look up Cassie Alexander here.
And
See.
just for those who are not familiar with what the Facebook ads library is, if you decide to run Facebook ads, it's a great thing to check out. You can also, if you don't follow Michael's link there, if you just Google Facebook ads library, you'll find it. It is a way that allows you can search any Facebook page on the Facebook ads library, and it will show you all of the ads that Facebook page is currently running, or and it'll also show you some of the ads that they've run in the past. So you can see some of the archived ads that they've run as well. And so it's a good way, like, for example, like, let's say you are, a sci-fi or a romance author, and you're starting to think about running Facebook ads. A good way to do so would be to go and look at some other sci-fi or, romance authors in the Facebook ads library, search their names, and you can see if they've been running any ads and what their ads look like and how they work. So this would be for Casey Alexander's. These are the ads that she's running.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's actually funny because the whole thing that kind of got me interested in AI video being actually applicable to authors was seeing 3 months ago that like Cassie and Novi in specific, Novi Callum was the first trailer I showed you. Cassie, now I'm showing you another example. Cassie, I obviously won't share her specific numbers, but she's a six-figure author. Um, and in fact, it tends to do like tends to be multiple of those figures. She's done a lot of this through like running ads using AI videos as like the actual ad creative. So not all of her ads here are featuring AI videos. You can see her face, that's her. But these are featuring AI videos. And specifically, you can see she's translating into other languages and then producing AI videos in that language. And they're doing like pretty well. And a lot of these videos are what she calls vibey, right? What I mean by that is they're really just showing like text on screen, like a little voiceover and just visuals. And it's not about consistency or even sharing a specific scene, but literally just like getting the vibe of the story out there. And that's what's really interesting. Like if you're running it, sometimes even on organic social, but especially as an ad, is it just needs to be the vibe of the story that brings people in. And video is very immersive and can very much give people the vibe, right? So it doesn't even need to be a scene from your story, like we kind of talked about earlier. So Cassie's kind of a master of this. I recommend studying her, and it's pretty cool what she's been able to do. So that would be like a tangible example.
Gotcha. Yeah, yeah. And I think that makes a lot of sense as well. It's probably easier to create some of those videos which are just, giving you the vibe of the book too, without necessarily needing to worry about like, oh, this character's face needs to look the same across all these different scenes and all that different stuff. Because that can be, AI can have trouble with, like keeping the face the same or whatever, right?
That's
Some
where
of
the
those,
hooks I shared will really come in handy too, because it's like
yeah.
really then using those hooks to generate a script for like the text on screen, and then just using that text on screen to take visuals that make sense behind it and that are like, it's such a weird word, but it's so accurate, vibey, right? Like it just like fits the
Yeah.
vibe of it, and that's it. So it's like, obviously like there's so many different levels to book trailers, but there's like the cinema, like I started off this whole thing with like the cinematic, what you probably expect from a book trailer. This is like the beautiful book trailer from Novi. None of us can pretend that that's easy to make. Novi is like an extremely talented, not only storyteller and author, but also increasingly a filmmaker too. To do that first go is extremely hard, if not impossible. Can you get there with a couple weeks of work? Oh my God, yes. But is that worth it to you? Maybe not. But what Cassie's doing, she's also super talented in her own right, but I think is super achievable to like start now. So I think it's like it kind of just depends like where you want to start, where you want to get to, but there's so much opportunity.
Yeah, you can start at the easier end of just going with something that produces vibes and gets your audience to understand like sort of the world that your book inhabits, but is not necessarily depicting, scenes or anything like that. And then as you level up your skills and understand how the tools work a little bit better, you can get to the point where you're producing stuff that's a little bit a longer length, scene transitions, editing multiple clips together, all that stuff. So you can start really simply as well. That's always one of the things that I'm talking about with authors is like all this stuff that, all the stuff I ever mention, like, oh, you should have like a prequel short story to your book or series as a reader magnet and give that away for free when people join your mailing list. Like if you don't have that and it's going to take you like 2 months to write it and polish it and get a book cover done and all that stuff, like take like just a sample, like take the first 3 chapters out of the book you've already written, use that as your reader magnet that you give away to people when they join your mailing list. Like it won't be necessarily as effective as having a standalone sort of prequel short story or something along those lines. But just don't let these recommendations be turned into roadblocks. It's like these are things that you can do, but it doesn't like start with simple and then like add more complexity as time goes on. Just like also like welcome sequences for your newsletters and stuff like that. If you have a one email welcome sequence that just says like thanks for joining my mailing list, like that is great. And then over time just add to it and you'll have 3 or 4 or 5, and some authors get up to like having like 27 emails in their welcome sequence and stuff like that. But all of those authors that you talk to that like produce these fantastic book trailers or what have you, or have 27 emails in their welcome sequence. Like that's not how they started on day one, right? Like, so yeah, definitely start there. We are at the end of our hour here. I'm sure people have a ton more questions though, but before we get to that, can you tell us a little bit about when you plan to launch CreatorWood, and do you have any sort of timeline on that, or where should people follow you guys?
Yeah, so the timeline is like really soon, like hopefully this weekend we're in beta. That's our goal. We've been kind of working around the clock on all the different projects. So yeah, CreatorWood, where you can like upload your story. We then, based on your story, create storyboards and then even create full-on movies and TV shows using AI for you. You could probably make a whole movie using this, and I mean, theoretically, you could probably do it in like a full day of work, but certainly like it wouldn't take that long. Is kind of where we've got it down to now, which is kind of awesome. So you can sign up for the wait list for that at like let me put the link in the chat. It's make.creatorwood.tv. We're just letting people in order of when they're on the wait list. And then I covered a lot today. I wrote a totally free book about this called CreatorWood that teaches you about like where AI filmmaking is, the principles of it, how to think through it, and also think through the business of it. So you can get that at blog.creatorwood.tv. And just if you sign up for the mailing list, you'll get the book. And then yeah, otherwise, like, yeah, we have a lot of stuff coming literally like in the next, like, really like very, very soon here. And we're definitely going to be open fully to the public by Labor Day. That's certainly going to happen where we'll be out of beta. So we're moving fast. We're really, really excited. But in the meantime, people can feel free to reach out to me, specifically questions at like hello@creatorwood.tv. Very happy to help folks, jump on a call, see what's going on. Anything that I can help with, please like feel free to reach out. This is a new space. I think it's a really exciting one, but I also want to caution people too. Like, I hope that you learned something here that can help you even with your existing tools and how to think about hooks and marketing. I'm not suggesting everyone should just jump over into the world of AI video now. Like, I think for some of you, it's certainly right, but don't make this something you feel stressed out about. I don't want anyone to feel FOMO. I just want this to be for some of you, and I know this was for me. For me, it was this incredible opportunity. I obviously have a passion for video to take my stories and bring it into video. And for me, it was just so much fun. And if it seems fun to you, I welcome you to join us. But if you're not sure if it's fun for you yet, life's good. We'll keep sharing more information, and this space is going to keep evolving.
Yeah, yeah. So many things are changing in this space, absolutely. So time will, and hopefully CreatorWood will be a part of pushing that forward, making it easier to do a lot of the stuff that's sort of complicated today. So Michael, thanks again for coming and chatting with us.
Thank you so much for this opportunity, Evan. It was amazing. Y'all are amazing.
All right. Thanks everyone else for coming out and joining and hanging out with me and Michael today. I know we got a lot of questions that we probably did not get to in the chat. So again, Michael shared his email address, hello@creatorwood.tv, if you have any follow-up questions for him. If you have any questions for me, you can email me, evan@storyoriginApp.com. Or if you forget how to reach out to Michael, you can always shoot me an email and I'll forward it to him. So anyway, thanks again, everyone, and we'll see you in the next one.